Sabrina Carpenter, talking about giving some shade, dropped her new song Skin overnight, and a lot of people are thinking it's Sabrina's response to Olivia Rodrigo's new #1 song, Driver License.
There's no response to be made. All I will say is that's her story to tell, so I'll let her do that.
Is a pretty big deal these days after her debut single Driver's License spent 8 straight weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposing SMG. Today we are talking about what everyone has been kind of obsessed with as of late. Olivia Rodrigo and her debut studio album, Sour. It's only been a few months, but it seems like Olivia has been everywhere. Every song she releases manages to smash, and the crazy part is, she was just on some Disney show that no one really talked about. So how is Olivia pulling in crazy numbers, insane hype, and overall giving the old girls of pop a run for their money? After we go through everything, I want you to make the final decision. Is Olivia Rodrigo the new it girl? This will be assessed based on the 5 criteria that Olivia falls under or utilizes to her advantage. Let's begin. The background information. Usually whenever a new star surfaces into the music industry, we don't know how well they're going to do. They can go with the usual regular stream of consistent fame, or they can just explode into massive stardom. If they have one hit that is smashing everywhere, they are often dubbed as a one-hit wonder, unless they prove otherwise. Olivia was originally dubbed as a one-hit wonder when Driver's License came out of nowhere and literally smashed the chart by spending 8 consecutive weeks atop the Hot 100. The song was a viral smash on TikTok, and you honestly couldn't escape it for the first 2 months of its release. Olivia followed it up with Deja Vu 3 months later, and even though the song was fairly successful by being semi-viral on TikTok and achieving a peak of number 8 on Billboard, it wasn't as successful as Driver's License. This is where people thought, oh, well, she's just another one-hit wonder. And we all know that one-hit wonders aren't the new it girl, or boy, depending on the case. But then, out of nowhere, Olivia came out with Good For You, which became a viral smash and reached #1 in Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Norway, Singapore, the United Kingdom, and the United States. After the announcement of Good For You came the announcement of Sour, which is the title of Olivia's studio debut album. The album was predicted to debut with 255,000 units at most, but Olivia outdid the prediction. The album ended up debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart with 295,000 equivalent units, which marked the biggest opening week for any album in 2021, surpassing who? None other than Taylor Swift, who is Olivia's idol. So how is Olivia pulling in these numbers? Let's talk about the 5 criteria that Olivia fulfills, and be sure to let me know if you agree or not in the comment section. Number 1. Olivia's style and aesthetic. Our current generation is obsessed with the aesthetic of things and how they appear. Olivia embodies that aesthetic very well. Like most trends, the trendy aesthetics originate on TikTok, which has taken over the world within the past year and a half. Olivia's style and aesthetic is heavily influenced by the early 90s rock and early 2000s fashion. Early 2000s trends like fun prints, rhinestones, lots of pink, and fun over-the-top accessories are what's in right now for Gen Z. And who's Gen Z led by in terms of music? Olivia. Olivia is like the quirky and, at the same time, edgy cool girl who's taking out all her rage on men through her lyrics. She differentiates herself from the usual pop cheerleader by branching out into her own unique style and sound, which makes her more appealing to this generation. Olivia dodged the manufactured pop star curse because she comes off as real and raw through her art. And as the years have passed by, fans have been falling more for vulnerable stars as opposed to the perfect pop star persona. This has a lot to do with Taylor Swift, but Taylor will get her own section later in this video. Olivia also puts a ton of effort in the rollout of things, which is something that is often overlooked when it comes to musicians. Olivia has the cool artwork for her albums and singles, she made a makeshift driver's license to promote her song Driver's License, and overall she's somebody who this generation heavily relates to. In comparison, other stars that have been around for a decade don't really care about the aesthetic of how they appear, and that's how social media engagement decreases. Take a look at Justin Bieber's Instagram, that just looks like a photo dump gone wrong. Olivia is the relatable and quirky girl, which is the same persona that Taylor adopted in the late 2000s. Number 2. Olivia's lyrics. Olivia's lyrics are very in your face with how she feels, and this generation loves a good rage. Gen Z is the generation that has been stuck at home all day during this pandemic and just was watching all of the social injustices go on in the world, and basically, emotions are at an all-time high. With someone like Olivia who is spilling her heart out through these songs, that rage translates back to everyone who's listening in a deeper way. Her music is resonating with those in their early 20s who are saying, Olivia speaks for the 17-year-old girl inside of me. For Gen Z, Olivia fuels their dramatic emotions and outlook on relationships. Many people are saying, if Good For You came out when I was 17, I wouldn't know how to act. Her lyrics are the perfect mix of Taylor's rage on relationships and Avril Lavigne's sassy rock attitude. Her lyrics are poetic, and they're not your usual basic heartbroken teen girl lyrics. Even though the lyrics aren't basic, at the same time, they paint the story very well. Like, we don't need Olivia to explain what they mean. They're so specific that you can even picture them in a movie scene. A few examples are, I guess that therapist I found for you, she really helped. Now you can be a better man for your brand new girl. Well, good for you. You look happy and healthy. Not me, if you ever cared to ask. Good for you. You're doing great out there without me. Baby like a damn sociopath. Car rides to Malibu, strawberry ice cream, 1 spoon for 2, and trade-in jackets, laughing about how small it looks on you. Another one is, so when are you going to tell her that we did that too? She thinks it's special, but it's all reused. That was our place. I found it first. I made the jokes you tell to her when she's with you. And here's another one. And maybe I'm just not as interesting as the girls you had before, but God, you couldn't have cared less about someone who loved you more. I'd say you broke my heart, but you broke much more than that. And the last example I'm going to use is, and I'm so sick of 17, where's my fucking teenage dream? If someone tells me one more time, enjoy your youth, I'm gonna cry, and I don't stick up for myself, I'm anxious and nothing can help. I said it as fast as she sings it. Number 3, nostalgia. I've spoken about the nostalgia factor before in my videos and even on my blog exposingsmg.com. Long story short, nostalgia sells. It's why people are still obsessed with Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez. Sure, they're toxic as hell, but they're also nostalgic as hell. When the Jonas Brothers made their comeback to music as a band again, what did they do? Milk the hell out of nostalgia. I talked about that in my video about them and Demi Lovato and how they used that camp rock nostalgia to build up their comeback. Miley Cyrus is currently riding the nostalgia train with all the Hannah Montana tweets and content. So how does 18-year-old Olivia play that nostalgia drum? Currently, it's a trend on TikTok to use that old 90s filter that turns our usual HD footage into the 90s camcorder vibe. Also, Olivia's style of music and being the voice of teen angst is nostalgic with who Demi Lovato represented in the late 2000s. Demi was the original voice of teen angst. Demi was the one singing about wearing Converse with a dress, and at the time, people loved Demi's entire vibe. They were the rock-pop chick out of the trio that was Demi, Miley Cyrus, and Selena Gomez. Olivia also got her start on Disney because she was starring in High School Musical, the series, which is based on the original High School Musical movies, which are the definition of nostalgia. Comment down below any other examples of nostalgia that you can think of. Number 4. The love triangle and the drama. Drama is free promotion. Celebrities may act like they hate the drama, but who's often at the root of the drama? The celebrity themselves. The more dramatic the situation is, the more the story boils, the more the press covers it, and the more the fans talk about it. It's a cycle that is as old as Hollywood itself. Driver's License went viral on TikTok because everyone decoded how the lyrics were about Joshua Bassett leaving Olivia for Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina was the older blonde girl that Olivia was talking about in Driver's License. And when Sabrina seemingly released Skin as a reply to Driver's License, Skin became Sabrina's highest charting song on Billboard because, what did I just say, ladies and gentlemen? Drama is free promotion. You can have all the it factors, but if no one is recognizing it, then it doesn't really matter. That's why there are so many amazing underrated artists out there, but we don't often hear from them because there is no drama attached to their name. I explained that entire love triangle from beginning to end in a blog post of mine, which I'll link down below. It's very interesting how it all came about and how Olivia even changed the lyrics in Driver's License to fit Sabrina more, so definitely check it out. Do you think Olivia would have exploded to stardom if the drama wasn't there? Number 5. Taylor Swift and her minions. Lastly, let's talk about Taylor Swift, who was the OG relatable quirky sad girl. Some people are convinced that Taylor makes clones that become industry plants, which end up praising her every second in the press. I mean, I'm sure that's a joke. Or is it? Anyways, Olivia is a huge Swiftie, and Taylor often acknowledges anyone who idolizes her, and she even helps them. We've seen this happen with Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello. Taylor even has writing credits on Olivia's album because Olivia sampled something from Taylor. It's beneficial for Taylor because her artistry never dies as long as a new generation is obsessed with her and constantly talking about her. In turn, they even promote her. Olivia and fellow Swiftie turned pop star Conan Gray made TikToks in promotion of Fearless, Taylor's version. Taylor also goes out of her way to achieve a personal connection with those who idolize her. She also sent Olivia the ring she wore while recording Red, and the pair officially met in person at the Brit Awards in May, and they exchanged handwritten letters and posed backstage. I guess that's how Taylor keeps her youth. She takes it from the up-and-coming pop stars. I'm kidding. Anyways, Taylor is extremely powerful in terms of connections in the industry and overall her legacy. Being friends with Taylor is enough promotion on its own. So of course this is beneficial towards Olivia because she has Taylor's support, and whomever Taylor supports, so will her massive fandom, the Swifties. So is Olivia the new it girl? With everything we discussed in today's video, what do you think? She has the aesthetic and she's down with the trends. The general public loves her lyrics, the drama keeps her interesting, she's benefiting off the nostalgia factor, and she has Taylor Swift on her side. Olivia has the success and stats on her side as well, 2 #1 singles and a #1 album within a few months of her career. So is she here to stay and commence her legacy, or is she just here for a season? Make sure to discuss in the comments because I'm curious to hear what you have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my pop analysis on Olivia Rodrigo. Let me know if you want to see more pop analyses on other pop stars. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos every week. Thanks, and as always, I'll see you next time.